The price of unity, the battle for Era 7. Stop. Close your eyes. I want you to imagine a silence so absolute, so complete, that it makes the crushing vacuum of space feel loud. A silence that doesn't just mean no sound, it means death. That is the signature of the silent, the alien race that came to wipe us out. And in a world where we once fought each other over ancient lines on a map, that terrifying silence was the only thing that finally forced humanity to speak with one voice. This is the story of how we paid the price for unity, and the desperate, hopeless last stand at Era 7. For thousands of years, we were our own worst enemy. We built walls, drew borders, and fought endless, petty wars over ideologies we barely understood. But out there, in the cold, uncaring dark, another enemy was watching. An enemy that didn't care about our politics, didn't care about our gods, and certainly didn't care about our history. They only cared about one thing: erasure. They called themselves the Silent, or rather, we called them that. Because when their fleets arrived, there was no warning. No radio chatter. No energy signature. No massive declaration of war translated into 1,000 languages. Just the sudden, catastrophic disappearance of entire colonies. They were biomechanical entities, ships that looked more like dark, sculpted reefs than star cruisers, and they moved through the void like ghosts. They were the ultimate predators. The initial invasion wasn't a military campaign, it was a slaughter. Mars fell in hours. The massive orbital defense platforms we spent decades building useless. Our sophisticated, radar-guided missiles, they passed right through the alien hulls as if they weren't even there. The technology of the Silent was beyond our understanding, beyond our defense. It was humbling. And for a fleeting, desperate moment, it made us realize the true scale of our arrogance. The world governments, still clinging to their titles and power, tried to negotiate. They sent peace emissaries, offering resources, territory, anything. The Silent's response: more silence. And then, more destruction. There was no common ground, only a common fate. It was clear, we were not being invaded, we were being cleansed. So, the unthinkable happened. The ancient grudges, the centuries of bitterness, the nuclear threats, the Cold Wars, they all melted away under the heat of a genuine, existential threat. The United Earth Defense Force UEDF was born, not from treaties, but from necessity. It was an alliance forged in panic, uniting the best minds, the best soldiers, and the best technology from every corner of the shattered globe. But even this monumental effort was too late. The Silent were already too close. The last line of defense stood at Era 7, a small, barely habitable moon orbiting a gas giant on the outer edge of the Sol system. It was a desolate, frozen rock, but strategically, it was everything. If Era 7 fell, the Silent would have an unobstructed path to Earth's orbit. And Earth was still home to over 9 billion people. The UEDF leadership knew they couldn't win a sustained fight. Their goal wasn't victory, it was attrition. They needed to slow the Silent down, to buy time for the final, chaotic evacuation effort already underway on Earth. Our story focuses on Viper Squadron, a mixed nationality unit assigned the most suicidal task, a forward ambush on the main Silent fleet path. The squadron leader was Captain Eliza Thorne, a former Royal Air Force ace known for her reckless brilliance. Her wingman was Commander Vikram Tiger Singh, a veteran of the now-dissolved Indian Space Command, a man known for his icy precision. Two brilliant pilots from two historically antagonistic military cultures, crammed into the same cockpit, fighting for the same goal. The tension in the briefing room was thick enough to cut with a plasma knife. Eliza, sharp and sarcastic, clashed constantly with Vikram's rigid adherence to protocol. "We need to be flexible, Singh. Their ships don't follow the textbook," she snapped. "Flexibility is chaos, Thorne. Chaos is death," he countered, his voice flat. This wasn't just a military unit, it was a microcosm of the newly formed UEDF and of humanity itself. Could these people, who had been raised to see each other as rivals, really trust one another when the fate of their species hung on a single moment they launched in their interceptors, sleek, fast fighters, the very best of old Earth technology? As they approached the designated jump point, the silence hit them. Not just the vacuum, but that profound, chilling lack of enemy signal. This is the psychological warfare of the silent. They don't give you a target, they give you dread. They let your own fear paint their picture on your radar. Suddenly, they appeared. Not 100 ships, not 1,000, but a swirling, organic mass of biomechanical nightmare fuel. Their hulls, blacker than the space between galaxies, seemed to absorb the starlight. The attack was immediate and devastating. Vikram's comm crackled, not with enemy fire, but with static, the universal symbol of technological breakdown. "I have 3 contacts on my tail, Thorne. My targeting system is failing," he yelled. Eliza didn't hesitate. "Forget the targeting. Go manual, Singh. Follow my lead." And here, in the heart of the battle, the old rivalries vanished. It was no longer the RAF versus the ISC. It was two people fighting for their lives, trusting a person they had despised just hours before. Eliza executed a maneuver so daring, so fundamentally insane, that it broke every rule in the UEDF playbook. She used the gravity well of a nearby asteroid field to slingshot her fighter, drawing the 3 silent ships away from Vikram. The alien ships, for all their technological superiority, seemed to lack the ability to truly improvise. They were efficient, but predictable. "Now, Singh, hit the core ship. The one that looks like a spinal column," she ordered. Vikram, watching Eliza bait the enemy, felt a surge of something unexpected, admiration. Ignoring his flickering instruments, he flew directly into the heart of the chaos, relying purely on his gut, the training instilled in him over a lifetime, and the sound of Eliza's voice guiding him. He fired the last of his prototype Ghost torpedoes. They connected. Instead of a massive explosion, the massive alien vessel simply turned gray and stopped moving. The silent ships didn't explode, they just went dead, their terrifying silence finally becoming permanent. The ambush worked. They managed to take out a key command ship, forcing a momentary, confused retreat from that part of the fleet. But Viper's squadron was shattered. Out of 12 fighters, only 2 Elizas and Vikram's made it back to the crippled base on Era 7. They were battered, bruised, and alive. But they had bought only a few precious hours. The battle for Era 7 wasn't a glorious victory. It was a brutal, desperate sacrifice. The outpost ultimately fell, as did almost every major military installation in the Sol system. But those precious hours that Eliza, Vikram, and the lost souls of Viper Squadron bought were enough. Enough for the final refugee ships to jump out of the system. Enough for humanity to escape the immediate threat. The story of the war isn't over. Today, humanity is scattered across the stars, a collection of broken fleets searching for a new home, forever haunted by the silent specter of the silent. But we are also united. Vikram and Eliza, once bitter rivals, now command the remnants of the UEDF fleet, leading with a bond forged in fire and shared fear. The ultimate price of unity was the near extinction of our race, but in that shared sacrifice, we found a strength we never knew we had. We learned that the petty differences that once defined us are utterly meaningless when faced with true darkness. The war continues. But now, when we fight as one. And that, in itself, is a victory. What a journey, right? The silence is terrifying, but the human spirit that's something else entirely. If this story of survival and unity in the face of annihilation hooked you, I want you to do two things for me. First, show your support for these kinds of epic tales by hitting that like button right now. Every like helps this channel grow and lets us dive deeper into the mysteries of the cosmos. Second, if you want to follow the rest of the story, what happened to Eliza and Vikram after Era 7, where the refugee fleet went, and the terrifying secrets of the silence technology, make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring that bell. You won't want to miss the next chapter. And speaking of next chapters, I've linked another mind-bending sci-fi video right here on your screen about the 5 ancient alien artifacts that could end all war. Click that, and let us keep exploring the universe together. Thank you so much for watching. Stay curious, stay engaged, and I'll catch you in the next transmission. May the silence never find you.